She always thought the most painful sound in the world was silence, until the day she heard the man she loved laughing in another woman's voice. She always believed betrayal felt like a knife, until she learned it feels more like paperwork, signed behind your back and dropped in front of you like you're disposable. But here's the twist Damien Cross never saw coming. The company he thought he built, the empire he bragged about, the crown he wore so proudly the day he became CEO. It never belonged to him, not one share, not one vote, not 1 ounce of power. Because the wife he underestimated, the woman he discarded, was the hidden owner of everything. This is not just a story of betrayal. It's a story of a quiet woman who turned silence into strategy and heartbreak into a weapon. And trust me, you're not ready for how this ends. Before we continue, tell us what time it is, where you're watching from, and which country you're in. Hit that subscribe button and join in fully, because you're going to want more stories like this. Serena Vale heard the front door open before she saw him. The sound was sharp, impatient, almost triumphant, like someone who had finally gotten what he believed he always deserved. She was sitting at the dining table sorting mail when Damien Cross walked into the room wearing a tailored charcoal suit that still had the stiffness of something brand new. He didn't greet her. He didn't smile. He didn't even hesitate. He tossed a thick envelope onto the stack of envelopes she'd been organizing. She blinked. "Damien, what is that?" "Divorce papers," he said, straightening his cuffs. "Sign them." Serena froze. She didn't reach for the envelope. She didn't move at all. Damien exhaled as if he'd been waiting for this moment for a long time. "I don't want to drag this out. Today I became CEO of Crosswave Technologies. It's a new era for me, a very public one, and I need someone who matches the image." Serena's voice was barely audible. "Image?" "Yes, Serena." He finally looked at her, but not with affection, with assessment. A CEO's wife can't hide in sweaters and stay home all day. I can't have someone who doesn't understand business standing next to me at galas, investor dinners, tech conferences. "I do understand business," she whispered. Damien gave a short laugh. "Serena, you don't even have a LinkedIn. You haven't worked in over 10 years. You wouldn't last 2 minutes in a boardroom." Something in her chest tightened, but she kept her expression still. "You asked me to take a step back. You said the company needed your full attention. You said—" "And I appreciate that," Damien cut in, "which is why I'm being generous. You'll get a settlement of $150,000 plus the Subaru." Serena stared at him as if he were speaking another language. "That's all you think 12 years of marriage is worth?" "That's more than fair," Damien said calmly. "And to be clear, you contributed nothing to Crosswave. I built that from the ground up." A strange ringing filled Serena's ears. "I contributed nothing?" "Come on," he scoffed, pouring himself a drink. "What did you do? Fold laundry? Cook dinner? That's not company equity. That's household maintenance. And you were comfortable. I gave you a good life." He took a sip of whiskey, then added casually, "And Serena, there's someone else." Silence fell like a blade. Her throat tightened, but her voice stayed steady. "Who?" "Alyssa Rowe," he said, and for the first time that evening his eyes softened, dreamily, arrogantly. "She's sharp, polished, executive level. She fits where I'm going." Serena forced herself to inhale slowly. "You've been seeing her?" "For a few months," Damien replied without shame. "And she'll be by my side at the shareholder summit next month. That's why this divorce needs to be finalized quickly." He pointed at the envelope. "Sign the papers, Serena. Stop dragging your feet on a future you're not part of." Serena's hand hovered over the envelope, but she didn't open it. Instead, she looked at the man she had believed in for 12 long years and realized she didn't recognize him anymore. "Okay," she whispered, "if that's what you want." Damien smirked. "Good. Glad we understand each other." He moved toward the stairs, loosening his tie, already done with her. Serena waited until he was out of sight, waited until she heard the bedroom door shut. Then, with hands that trembled for only a moment, she reached for her phone and dialed a private number. When the line picked up, she said 4 words with a calmness that would terrify anyone who truly knew her. "This is Serena Vale. It's time. Prepare the ownership files." She hung up before the person could reply. Her pulse steadied, her expression hardened, and for a brief second, just one, she allowed herself the smallest smile. He thinks I have no idea what I'm doing. But Damien Cross had no idea who he had just challenged. The documents he thought defined his empire had Serena's fingerprints on them long before Crosswave became successful. Because Serena had a secret, one Damien never suspected, one that changed everything. 12 years earlier, Damien had been a nobody with a laptop, a dream, and a pile of rejection emails. Venture capitalists practically slammed doors in his face. Investors didn't believe in him. He pitched Crosswave's cybersecurity concept 51 times, 51 rejections. He was ready to quit. Serena remembered sitting beside him on their old thrift store couch, watching him crumble. He'd buried his face in his hands, saying over and over, "Maybe I'm not meant to build anything." But she believed in him. Back then, she had inherited $2.8 million from her grandmother, a financial prodigy who always said, "Genius looks quiet, but it grows loud." Serena believed in Damien so deeply she was willing to risk everything. But she also understood something Damien didn't: his ego. If he knew she funded him, he'd feel small. If he felt small, he'd sabotage his own dreams. So Serena created the Vale Trust, an anonymous investment fund shielded through multiple layers of legal strategy. She funneled the entire inheritance into Crosswave, quietly, invisibly. Damien celebrated the mysterious angel investor who saved his company. He had no idea the angel slept beside him. But Serena wasn't foolish. She didn't just fund him. She structured the deal with precision. Through the Vale Trust, she secured 68% ownership, full voting rights, executive veto power, complete control of all majority decisions. Damien signed the contracts without reading a line. He was desperate. He trusted her. He believed she was just the supportive wife. Serena remembered handing him those papers all those years ago. He kissed her forehead and said, "You always know exactly how to help me. I'm lucky to have you." A cruel contrast to tonight. She closed her eyes, steadying herself. Her father-in-law once told her, "People show their true selves not when they fail, but when they succeed." Tonight, Damien succeeded, and revealed everything ugly inside him. Serena whispered into the silence of the living room, "You shouldn't have pushed me, Damien. You shouldn't have forgotten what I'm capable of." Her phone buzzed. A text from her attorney. "Files are ready. Are we moving forward?" Serena typed back, "Yes, tomorrow morning. It's time he learns the truth." She slipped Damien's divorce envelope into a drawer and shut it gently. Then she whispered a soft line to the universe, a line meant for viewers who crave poetic justice. If you're still watching, hit that subscribe button, because the payback hasn't even begun. So if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Every story we will share is a spark of hope, giving a voice, a future, and a chance to everyone out there that have faced challenges one way or the other over the world. So support us by subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you never miss a story that truly matters, and we will want to hear from you. So drop a comment and tell us where you are watching from and how the story touched you. Together, we are not just watching stories unfold. We are keeping hope of a better tomorrow. Morning sunlight washed across the towers of downtown Portland as Serena walked into Crosswave Technologies with a calmness that belied the war she was ready to start. She wore a clean-cut navy suit, her hair pulled back, her eyes steady. Every step echoed with purpose. Employees who once overlooked her glanced twice today, sensing something different, an energy, a quiet authority they couldn't name. Upstairs, Board Chairman Elliot Granger leaned back in his leather chair, reading the documents Serena had sent him at dawn. His weathered brows lifted slowly, then sharply. By the time Serena stepped into his office, he already knew the truth. "Mrs. Vale," he greeted, standing. "I must say, I wasn't expecting this." Serena nodded respectfully. "The board meeting is at 10? "Yes, and Damien has no idea you're coming." "Good," Serena replied. "He shouldn't." Elliot studied her, impressed. "Your grandmother taught you well." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "She prepared me for exactly this." As Serena left his office, her pulse thudded with calm fire. Today was the day she stopped being a shadow. Today, she stepped into her rightful power. Downstairs, Damien walked through the lobby with Alyssa Rowe clinging to his arm. Alyssa wore a fitted cream dress, styled perfectly for a CEO's accessory. She glanced around the building like she owned it already. "You ready to wow them?" she asked. Damien smirked. "They're going to beg me to take full control." He had no idea. When the boardroom doors opened for the 10 a.m. meeting, Damien strode in confidently. The board members nodded politely. Alyssa took a seat beside him. The room quieted. Damien tapped his pen as if conducting an orchestra. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. Today, I want to address one lingering issue. The silent angel investor. They've been inactive for over a decade. As Crosswave enters a new era under my leadership, it's time we remove their voting privileges and consolidate power." Several board members nodded, some murmuring agreement. Damien's smile sharpened. "Let's proceed to a formal vote." The doors clicked open. Every head turned. Serena Vale stepped inside. Damien shot to his feet, face flushing crimson. "What the hell are you doing here? You don't belong in this room." Alyssa's lips curled. She must be lost. Elliot Granger raised a hand. "Sit down, Damien." Damien whipped toward him. "She's not part of this company." Elliot's expression turned cold. "On the contrary, she requested to be here, and she has the authority to do so." Confusion washed over Damien's face. "Authority? What authority?" Serena walked past him without looking in his direction, heading to the opposite end of the table. "The seat reserved for the primary investor." Alyssa's smirk faltered. Damien lunged forward. "Serena, don't touch that chair. That is not your seat." Serena lowered herself onto it with perfect composure. "It is," she said softly. "It always has been." Whispers fluttered across the room. Damien barked a laugh. "Are you insane? You don't even know what a quarterly report is. You—" "Mr. Granger," Serena said, ignoring Damien entirely. "Please distribute the documents." Elliot handed packets to each board member. The board flipped through them. Their eyebrows rose. Murmurs grew louder. Damien looked around, bewildered. What is this?" Serena folded her hands. 12 years ago, Crosswave Technologies received $2.8 million in seed funding from an anonymous investor. That investor secured a 68% controlling stake. Damien scoffed. Yes, I know that, and today we're voting them out. Serena smiled faintly. You can't vote me out. The room fell dead silent. Damien blinked. Me what? I am the Vale Trust, Serena said, her voice steady. I funded Crosswave. I'm the 68% owner. Every major decision in this company runs through me. A pen clattered onto the table. Alyssa's eyes widened, lips parting in shock. Damien shook his head violently, like he could physically reject her words. No, that's impossible. Emerson Group funded us, a wealthy private investor. That was me, Serena said. You signed every document without reading the details. You wanted money fast. I gave it to you. You just never bothered to check where it came from. Gasps erupted. One board member muttered, He didn't read the contract? Elliot leaned back, watching Damien unravel. Serena continued, And there's more. Over the last 6 months, Damien has used corporate funds for personal expenses totaling $310,000. That includes a luxury penthouse lease for Alyssa Rowe, her Mercedes, her credit cards. Alyssa's face drained of all color. Damien, you said those were bonuses. You said they were approved. Damien stared at Serena like he was seeing a ghost, one he should have never crossed. You did this, he said, voice trembling with rage. You planned this. You... Serena cut him off, her voice smooth as steel. No, you did this. You underestimated me. You forgot who I am. A heavy silence followed. Finally, Elliot Granger stood. Mrs. Vale, as majority shareholder, how would you like to proceed? Damien looked around the table desperately. Elliot, don't you dare. Serena didn't even look at him. Remove Damien Cross as CEO, she said, effective immediately. 2 security guards stepped forward. Damien staggered back. Serena, please, don't do this. I can fix things, I swear. You wanted a future without me, Serena replied. I'm simply granting your wish. Alyssa grabbed her purse and stood. Damien, you lied. You said you owned the company. You said none of this mattered. He reached for her. She pulled away. You're toxic, she snapped. I'm done. Security took Damien by the arms. He twisted violently, shouting at Serena. This company was mine. You hear me? Mine. Serena held his gaze for the first time that day. It was built on my belief, my money, and my silence, she said. But silence isn't weakness, Damien. It's strategy. The doors shut behind him. For a moment the room was perfectly still. Then Elliot Granger nodded respectfully to Serena. Welcome to the helm, Mrs. Vale. 3 months later, Crosswave's valuation had doubled. Serena's leadership drew attention from Forbes, Bloomberg, and tech analysts who'd once ignored her existence. Investors praised her clarity, her strategy, her decisiveness. Meanwhile, Damien Cross worked a modest IT help desk job in a rented apartment far from the skyline he once bragged about dominating. Alyssa had vanished from his life. His reputation was in ruins. He drove the old Subaru now, the same car he'd mocked Serena for keeping. Every time he turned the ignition, humiliation echoed louder. Serena, meanwhile, founded the Vale Initiative, a program funding women who had been overlooked or dismissed in tech, business, and finance. One applicant cried as Serena handed her a grant contract. You changed my life, the woman whispered. Serena smiled softly. Someone once underestimated me, too. I'm just paying it forward. That night, standing before the panoramic windows of Crosswave's top floor, Serena whispered, They thought I was quiet. They thought I was small. They thought I was nothing without him. She exhaled slowly. They were wrong. And to the viewers who crave stories of justice and power, if this story kept you hooked, like the video, subscribe for more stories, and tell me in the comments, what would you have done in Serena's place? Thank you for watching. Until the next story, stay strong, stay hopeful, stay inspired.